All right, let's talk about a problem that is quite literally tearing up America. We're talking about feral hogs. Now, this isn't just some minor pest, this is a full-blown crisis with a billion-dollar price tag. So, how did we get here? And more importantly, what can actually be done about it? Let's dive in.
First things first, let's just put a number on it. $1.5 billion. That's the estimated damage feral hogs cause every single year in the US alone. Just to give you an idea of how much money that is, you could buy a brand new tractor for nearly 10,000 small farms with that cash. So yeah, this is way beyond a nuisance. It's a massive economic hit.
So who's responsible for this billion-dollar bill? Well, it's these guys. Somewhere between 4 and 6 million feral hogs are running wild across the country. They are a biological freight train, you know? Their population is just exploding, and their destructive path is getting wider every single year. And look, this isn't just a problem in 1 or 2 states. Feral hogs have been spotted in at least 38 states. They're basically an ecological wrecking ball. They dig up entire fields of crops, they destroy property, and they push out native animals like deer by eating all their food. Make no mistake, this is a nationwide challenge.
Now, while the problem is national, some states are definitely feeling it more than others. Texas is basically ground zero. They're dealing with up to 3 million hogs. That's more than a lot of other states combined. And they're not alone. Places like Louisiana and Georgia are also battling hundreds of thousands of them. For these states, it's a constant siege.
So when you have a problem this huge, you're constantly searching for solutions. Today, we're going to zoom in on one specific approach, an American-made alternative that's built for landowners who need something that just plain works, without all the high-tech complexity and cost.
It's called the Boar Blanket, and the idea behind it is actually pretty simple, but really tough. It's an innovative trap that's built around a super strong, double-layered net. The whole thing was designed from the ground up to be easy, affordable, and just really effective for the folks out there who need a practical tool they can rely on. So let's get into what makes this thing tick. First off, it's made right here in the USA. It's also a much more affordable option compared to some of those really complex, expensive smart traps. The design is super straightforward. No bells and whistles, it's just built for one job. Plus, it's compact, so you can actually haul it into remote spots, and that double-layered net, that's the secret sauce to its durability.
Okay, so a net trap sounds interesting, but how does it actually work in the real world? Let's walk through how you get this thing from a box, out into the field, and ready to do its job.
The whole thing is designed so one person can pretty much set it up on their own. You start by setting a center point, then you drive 8 T-posts into the ground to make a circle. After that, you just hang the net, basically weave the ends together to close the loop, and then pin the whole thing to the ground with anchors. No complicated electronics, just a really practical, step-by-step process.
And you know, that simple setup leads to probably its biggest selling point. This thing is versatile. Sure, you can set up a perfect circle in a wide open field, but you can also set it up in the woods, wrapping it around trees and conforming to uneven ground. It's made to adapt to the environment, not force the environment to adapt to it.
Okay, so that's the theory, but does it actually work when it counts? Let's take a look at a real-world case study from a property right near the Mississippi River to see how this trap actually performed when it was put to the test.
So picture this, a landowner is dealing with the same group of 12 hogs, day in and day out. They keep coming back, causing damage. What they needed was a way to deal with this specific, mid-sized group all at once, without having to build some giant permanent trap. And the results? Man, they were pretty much perfect. In just one night, the trap caught all 12 hogs, the entire group. Problem solved. The net held them all securely for more than 4 hours, and because they were watching with a simple trail camera, the landowner could time the capture just right.
But you don't have to take my word for it. The landowner himself, Miller Greenlee, said it best. He said, "The Boar Blanket worked great. It let us time the capture, trap all 12 hogs in one night, and handle the problem efficiently." I mean, that's a powerful endorsement from someone who's actually on the front lines of this fight.
Now this is where things get really interesting. That same landowner was also using one of those giant conventional panel traps on a different property. And comparing the two really shows you the strategy. The big panel trap is for huge groups. We're talking 25, 30 hogs or more that you catch over a long period. The Boar Blanket, it excels at a totally different mission, targeting those smaller, specific groups with a trap you can set up quickly. So, what's the big takeaway from all this?
Well, it really boils down to a super simple but really crucial idea for anyone who's managing land and wildlife. Look, it all boils down to one powerful idea. Being effective isn't always about having the biggest, baddest, most expensive tool in the shed. It's about having the right tool for the specific job you're facing. Different problems and different size groups of hogs just require different strategies.
And that right there is why this all matters. For the landowners, farmers, and conservationists dealing with those really common small to mid-sized groups of hogs, having a tool that's adaptable, affordable, and quick to get in the ground, well, that gives them a serious advantage in protecting their land and the local ecosystem.
So, that kind of leaves us with one final thought, right? As we face these bigger, more complicated environmental challenges, is the best solution always the most complex one? Or just maybe, can simple, straightforward, and accessible tools sometimes make the biggest difference of all?
Thanks for tuning in.